Well, hi there, everybody, and here we are coming at you almost live. Oh, actually, we are live, aren't we, from way out west in upstate Tokyo, here on the um, here on the uh, GAIJIN50 Plus live stream and Japan Talk live stream. We have a little bit of a problem. We're gonna be having supposed to have a couple of guests showing up here today. My friend who was with me last week, good old Carl, he just sent me a message a short while ago. He says, "Aren't we going live in a few minutes?" And I said, "Yeah, we are." And I sent him the link once again, and he said he spilled his coffee, so he'll be back in just a minute. I did that the other day too. You know, I had it wasn't coffee, it was water. I had a big tumbler of Starbucks, a tumbler of water by my elbow, which is always a bad place to put liquids, and I bumped it with my elbow, dumped all over the place. It took me about half an hour to clean everything up. Well, anyway, how are you doing? As I said, we're supposed to have two guests here today. I think Carl will be here in a minute as soon as he finishes cleaning up his coffee. But hey, Stephen Noborito, how you doing? Nice to have you here. Almost my neighbor out there in Noborito. And yes, Steve says having a cup of good old Nescafe Gold right now. You know, I've got some instant coffee that I'd like to push. You know, I have nothing to do with the company, but I found over in Don Quixote, they've got instant coffee that's made in Vietnam. And I think everybody, maybe you do know, maybe you don't know, but Vietnam also has quite a coffee culture. They use Robusta beans, which are really strong, but they're really good for instant coffee. And I buy it all the time, and it's relatively cheap. So you might want to try it out. We got I can't see who's here and who's not here right now. So okay, John. Oh, Johnny come lately here. Okay.
I can hear you. How are you,
Yep.
sir? Good to see you again.
Good to see you. And
Now I'm going to get doxxed because if somebody triangulates, they'll find out right where I am.
Okay. I was just telling everybody that Carl he said just about when the live stream was supposed to start, he dumped coffee all over the place. So
I guess so.
He said he's going to be a little bit late.
That's fine.
And my good friend,
again,
okay, same here. My good friend Kelvin Mitchell, excuse me, Kelvin Mitchell out in Alabama is here. Good morning, Kelvin. It's nice and early over there.
What
Kelvin
time is it in Alabama? Goodness.
What time you got there, Kelvin? I think he told me one time it was around 4 or 5 or something.
Oh, I guess
like
he's
that.
an early riser. Or you didn't go to bed last night. I mean, he might be a ship worker or something.
Yeah. Well, he's into rockets. He says 5 a.m. He's a rocket man. So
yeah, that was my dream job.
Yeah. Okay.
It didn't work out for me, but that's okay. I don't regret.
Actually, my nephew is also a rocket man, and I found out just recently that my nephew lives and works not very far from Kelvin. In fact, I found that out, I think it was this morning, and I
evidently
sent Kelvin
on the
a
coast
note.
there, they can ship those rockets to the Cape across the Gulf.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so
they're in Huntsville. I don't know. Is Huntsville near the coast?
Yeah. Evidently, they have these big flatbed barges that go across the Gulf over to Florida, so they can deliver those to the Cape. Those big rocket parts. They can't send them over road or rail.
Okay. Well, John. You're new. While Carl is cleaning up his coffee there.
I'm new here. Yeah, relative. I guess it's all relative, isn't it?
Yeah. Why don't you? Yeah. Hey.
Oh, here
Carl.
he comes. Hey guys.
What
Sorry,
happened?
I had a coffee incident. So
yeah,
static electricity
there we go.
caused me to drop it, but I'm good now. So
okay.
So so you're on the third topic now?
No, actually, we're waiting for you.
Oh, okay. Well, you didn't have to wait, but
So John's I'm gonna ask John to introduce himself. Brief introduction there, John. So go.
Yeah, I'm John. I've been teaching English here since 1994. I think Carl's got 1 year on me.
Yeah.
So we're both about in the same boat as far as English teaching experience. I have a family here. I guess as Carl does too. Carl, you and I are pretty much parallel.
We've lived
careers.
parallel lives, but only
Yeah.
just recently met.
But then you've been doing this in the Tokyo area, and I've been doing it in the Osaka area. So I'm sporting up my background here.
Sure.
I think Ed is smart enough not to get doxxed, but me, I gotta show up the castle.
The only reason my scene doesn't show a window is because I have my windows in front of me. Yeah. So when I record in the daytime, I get the natural light. Okay.
Well, in the daytime, you can't see; it's all just blown out, right?
Yeah.
But this time of the evening, it's pretty nice. I got to show it off. Sometimes it's red.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Sometimes it's red.
It changes colors.
Okay.
Sometimes it's red. Sometimes it's blue. Sometimes it's green.
Okay.
I think there's a website that tells you why. Anyway.
Carl, he just said that you're in the Tokyo area. I thought you were down in.
No, I'm in the general Tokyo area. That's right.
Oh, really?
So when I first came to Japan, I was in Hiroshima for 6 years. So, but I've been here for almost 20 now. So.
Okay. Well, Carl likes to remain a little bit mysterious here, so
the man in the phone booth.
Okay, well, we got a couple of topics that we're going to talk about. The first one is I'm a little bit selfish because it's about a video that I did that's still, it didn't pop like some videos do, but it's on a constant slow upward trend.
Oh, those are the creepers. Those are the
good ones. And this one's pretty creepy to be absolutely. The Tourist and His Knife.
When was this?
Pardon me? That was in 2009.
Okay.
And at the time, it was a really hot story because there were people who on one side said, oh, those damn Japanese cops, they're always messing with the gaijins. And then on the other side, were those people who said, wait a minute, this story just, there's something fishy about this story. And there was a running battle for a long time. So I thought it was going to be, I thought it might become that on the channel, but, not so much. Right? You guys never heard of that?
I do remember when Steve Jobs tried to take a katana back to America with him on his private jet, and they wouldn't let him. But I guess that's not related.
Yeah.
So you said this happened in 2009.
Yes.
And then I think when we were talking about this before, there was an actual incident, not just somebody having a knife, but using it a lot in Akihabara. It was a Japanese guy, maybe he had some mental health issues, and killed like 10 people or stabbed 10 people, something like that.
A bunch of people, yeah. So he started out by ramming his truck. Anyway, it was pretty bad. Yeah, go ahead, Carl.
So I was going to say, so the incident that you talked about on your video was a tourist in Tokyo. And it was also in 2009. Was it like shortly after the one?
Yes, you're correct. You're correct.
So in a way, there was like a heightened sensitivity. I mean, I'm not saying that then they should change the rules or anything. I'm just saying that's the background, right?
Yeah. Well,
Makes sense.
Yes. In fact, that's one of the reasons that the people, those who said, oh, this is totally believable, because those people were saying just for that reason. They were saying that the police were on heightened alert and that they were being forced to, they were like on a quota system. Get out there and enforce this law. And they thought that, gaijins were easy prey. And many people jumped on to that line of thought. But, there was never anything. I hate to use the word proof or evidence or direct evidence or things like, because that sounds like lawyering the truth. But go ahead.
I was going to say, I think the last time we talked, or when we talked about this informally, I don't know if this is your conclusion, but it's like maybe this really happened, or maybe it was. You didn't really conclude either way, but it's possible that this was somehow fabricated. Is that?
Gee, I'd hate to say I hate to say somebody was making it up, but and I was trying to be really careful, probably too careful in the video by not saying that. It's just that the story rang funny, incomplete to
Interesting.
me. Yeah.
So what was the final outcome? Was he charged and convicted? He was a tourist. He wasn't working here.
Yep. He was here to see his son, evidently, according to the story. And all right, the story was that this old guy was here to see his son, and he was bouncing along in Shinjuku, and he went to a police box, and he to ask for directions to get to Kinokuniya. And he said to the policeman, where's Kinokuniya? And according to the story, the policeman suddenly said to him, do you have a knife? And this guy says, yeah, and whipped out his trusty pocket knife. And the police saw it and measured it, and it was 1 centimeter longer than the allowable length of the time. And they arrested him on the spot, and they held him for, I forgot what it was. There's some discrepancy, but I mean, some in clarity. It was either 8 days or 10 days, according to the record. And then finally he got out. And then
But he missed his plane flight home, right? I mean, that can be really expensive.
Yeah, but evidently nobody covered it. There was no coverage in any of the news. And then there was this guy named Brian Hedge, who was friends with the son of this guy, who wrote a letter to the Japan Times, and the Japan Times covered it and came up with this report, but the gentleman's name was never revealed. His son's name was never revealed. The details of the case were never revealed. So I thought, somebody mentioned this case when I did my Minor Offenses Act thing. They said, oh yeah, I remember that guy in Shinjuku. So I thought, well, I wonder what ever happened to that. So I got on the net, did some Google searches, did some, asked AI about it. And there's nothing, absolutely blank about this.
So Steve Martin made a comment, and he said that something showed up on his YouTube that said that about a quarter of the internet before 2013 was deleted by various parties, including presumably parts of Google and Wikipedia.
The right to be forgotten.
Where is that?
What's that called?
Is that this one? This evening?
Yes. That's what I mentioned.
YouTube popped up on my feed pointing out that about a quarter of what was on the internet in 2010 has been deleted by various parties. Does that mean about this case, or?
Well, I mean, if this case was on the internet and a quarter was deleted, I mean, there's a chance, right?
Yeah. But why only a quarter? Well, it's a very mysterious case. Yeah.
I imagine if this qualifies as a violent incident, the police records will never disappear for this individual.
Well, one explanation that I read background, and I have no idea of knowing this is true, but in my discussion about this, they said that if he was taken into custody and questioned and all this kind of stuff, and in the end, if he finally said, okay, I give up, and signed a confession, some kind of confession or release or something like that, they would have let him go, and there would have been no charges filed. Yeah.
But then again, I imagine there's a record of this man and maybe his mugshot and his fingerprints
You would
somewhere in
think
that
so,
police
wouldn't you?
record forever.
You would think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
think so. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
then,
but
you know, go ahead.
interestingly, interestingly, if you were to like apply for a visa and it says on the visa, I have you ever broken any Japanese laws? And you check no. The right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing by law. Even though the police keep those records, they cannot release those records to other departments. It's what do they call it? Pigeonholing or siloing. It's siloed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds right.
So I guess I don't know, take from that what you will. We still have some rights.
I think immigration is overseen by the Ministry of Justice, and in the big picture. So I'm pretty sure that if you had a run-in with the cops in Japan, then when you applied for a visa, or maybe not when you applied for a visa, but when you actually tried to enter the country, then there would be some information in a database that would pop up, and basically I think you would be blacklisted. It sounds like if the story as Ed told it is accurate, and I mean I have no way of knowing whether it happened or it was totally apocryphal, but it doesn't sound like the guy was a bad guy. But my guess is, regardless, he probably won't be allowed to come back to Japan. Yeah. So, but yeah, I can see that there was sort of heightened awareness or heightened tension.
Carl, do you have a personal story along lines with that? Have you ever had a run-in? I'm not.
No, that's okay. So actually, I think we were talking about this before too. So Ed said in his whole time he's like almost never been stopped, like maybe to show your driver's license or something, like when you were driving, which kind of makes sense. I think I can recall that I have had 2 traffic related times when I had to talk to the police. And like in the States, I think that the cops have a certain discretion. It's like, well, I'm going to let you off with a warning, right? So sometimes that's something the cops say when they decide that, this kid or this person, they're going to shape up if I give them a warning and I'm not going to give them a ticket. My guess is that in Japan, the quote unquote letting you off with a warning is less likely, but I think it happens. And then I guess we weren't talking about traffic, we were talking about in general stops. I have never been stopped by the police for anything other than traffic related incidents. How about you guys?
In my personal experience like 25 years ago when I started riding I rode motorcycles here for 25 years. And then when my daughter was born, I basically stopped. But at the beginning, there were many instances where they were like, this time only, slow down. But near the end, there was just no forgiveness, no leeway. I don't know if they changed or the fact that it says long-term resident on my GAIJIN card was like, no, we're not giving you any leeway anymore. You've had your chances. I don't know who changed, but it's definitely different than it was when I started. But you
were, like, basically you were speeding or you did some other infraction. And
there's a category called pink menkyo, if you know what that is. But
no, it's like blue and gold is what I know.
Pink is when they take your license away and give you a pink piece of paper, and it's basically like, tell it to the judge, and you're driving on this pink piece of paper.
Well, I used to have a 50cc, and for short trips around the neighborhood. And in those days, and that was the Koban, the police box days, and the favorite pastime of the police box police in those times would be standing out in front of the police box with a whistle and stopping every 50cc motorcycle that went by. Yeah, and I had a really funny experience. This is one of my favorite Japan stories. I was wearing one of those helmets with the face visor, so you couldn't see who was driving.
Couldn't see
and
that
I
you
was
were
going-
Gaijin.
Yeah, and I was going along, beep, and this guy came out, beep, and I stopped, and he came strutting up to my bike, and I opened my visor, and he goes, Gaijin-san, konnichiwa.
And did you get the free pass? Did you get the this time only? Go ahead, just
No,
drive
no, he
slowly?
just checked my license.
Oh,
and said
Oh.
thank you. Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
license check. Yeah,
Checking
Alright.
for unlicensed drivers, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it was pretty funny.
Well, I used to
but-
ride a 1,300cc
Well,
motorcycle, and in the States, that's what they call the cop magnet.
Yeah.
And so,
Oh, it's
I
bad
got
in the States
told-
too.
Well, in Hiroshima, I think Koizumi was visiting the city. I was working for Matsuda at the time. This is back in 2004. And Koizumi was there to visit the city. And the police were everywhere, for security purposes, because the prime minister was in the city. And I was coming out of a restaurant, and these two policemen actually, I was parked, but they stopped me. I wasn't even moving. And they're like, this is a big bike. You came out of a restaurant. You've been drinking. I'm like, no, I don't drink. No, please. So even not moving, this thing would attract police.
Oh, I've got to correct the record here.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Steve Martin said for the 50cc motorcycles, is that gokiburizoku?
Yeah,
I've never heard
like
that word before.
I've never heard it, but it
I don't know if
applies.
it's cute or
In
gross.
Osaka,
But
they call it the Gokitan or the Gokiburi Tansha.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't heard that.
And
Go ahead, Ed.
I said I was never rousted for no reason, but I do have a correction. I was down in Sendagaya area, which is near Harajuku, and I think Ronald Reagan was coming to Tokyo, and security was up, and I was going home. I was going to dinner from work, and it was late in the evening, and I was driving down the street, and they stopped me, and that time I was living in Kunitachi, and they said they looked at my license and they said, this license Kunitachi address, what are you doing around here? It was kind of like that, but
Mhm.
I just shrugged it off because of the heightened security, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I
Well,
mean, they
Trump
didn't do
came
anything.
here.
They just checked.
What year was that? 2018, I think.
Trump
Trump was here in Osaka. He was at the castle. And the whole, I couldn't get anywhere. They shut down everything. And this policeman was stopping everybody. I'm like, I need to go to Morinomiya, which is where I live. And he's like, just go that way. I'm like, and I saw the bus. They had all these buses for the police. It said Ehime. They didn't know Osaka. They were just here. So if you
they
had
were
to
like,
ask the guy,
back
how
up.
do I get around the blocks? He couldn't guide me because he doesn't know Osaka. You just got to follow the arrows.
Just a show of force, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Helicopters everywhere.
Yeah. Well, you can understand that, though. I mean, it would be really embarrassing if the president of the United States was assassinated
Well,
in Japan.
now, next to us in Nara is a place that they call Saidaiji, in front of a Starbucks that I used to meet students at for years. That's where Abe was shot and killed by a guy with a homemade gun.
Yeah. And he recently appealed his life sentence. He
And wasn't he
filed
turned
an
down?
appeal. Pardon me?
His name is
Oh,
Yamagami.
and that process is going to start happening now, or did they reject his appeal?
He appealed. I read in today's news.
Okay, and so that's where it's at now. Okay.
Yeah, so it's appealing pending, right?
Well, the
Appeal
lawyers
pending.
are going to run that through for the next 50 years, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do have a nice story. Sorry.
Oh,
Is this a
okay.
good time for that?
Sure, go ahead.
So this was 90. 1995, and it's like is it New Year's Day when you can go see the emperor and wave the little flag?
Yeah,
in front
yeah,
of-
yeah.
right,
yeah.
Chiyoda, is that what it's called? Chiyoda,
Yeah.
or the palace?
Yeah,
Right, okay.
yeah.
And so my friends in Tokyo, I went to university with a roommate that was from Tokyo, and we get together and we're going to go to the palace and do the thing with the flags, and they wave from their window and with their white gloves on and all that. Okay. I had my Swiss Army knife in my pocket. And as you know, a Swiss Army knife contains like toothpicks and nuclear reactors and microscopes, and everything's in that thing. And my friend is so frustrated. He's like, "Why did you bring such a weapon to the..." I'm like, "What? No, it's just a Swiss Army knife. What are you talking about?" And they unfolded. I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know it had that." And they took a picture of me with the knife all displayed. And they're like, "You may enter, but the knife must stay." And so I got to go wave the little flag and all that, but they kept my knife. This was after this Omu Shinrikyo had attacked the subway with nerve gas. Yeah.
So actually, the Ohm thing is, I think it's related to trash cans. That was maybe not on our list for today, but
No,
the
please, go
tourists
ahead.
always ask me, they say, "Why are there no trash cans here?" I'm like, it's a long story. There was a Buddhist cult that was putting nerve gas into trash cans, and so they got rid of them all. So
actually, there's so far I've seen two comments that are quite interesting. So one is from Steve Martin about a motorcycle that he got into an accident on.
Oh, the Utsunomiya? Yeah.
Yes. So a reason not to be on motorcycles, and this is why wives don't like their husbands to be on motorcycles too, right?
Or why they wanted them to be on.
So you get these new guys that want to follow all the rules, and they stop behind the car, and I'm like, here's the guy who wants to follow the rules and he's risking his life. Squeeze up and get in front of those stop cars, so that when the light turns green, you're the first to go, and then you avoid, because people are not paying attention.
But by the way, in Japan, is lane splitting legal or not legal?
If it was illegal, how would they stop people? Right.
Well, I mean, if they see you doing it and then they say, "Look, I just saw you."
If you're smart, you'll get in front of the stop cars so that you won't get rear-ended. As a matter of safety, there's enough room, as you notice, between the stop line and the crosswalk for the motorcycles.
Yeah,
and that's where most of the motorcycle riders get, so that when the light's green, they can be the first to go.
And
but
obviously, motorcycles accelerate
really
faster
tight
than
guys.
cars.
Well, my teacher told me, I'm like, not the good place to be, because getting rear-ended by a car, that could be the end of you. So,
by the way, Steve Martin
ahead.
and I seem to have lived parallel lives. I used to live at a place for 11 years. I lived in a place just outside of Utsunomiya, he says. And then he said that he was teaching in Kunitachi, and I said I used to live in Kunitachi. It seems like one of us is a stalker or something.
Maybe it's a Star Trek episode. We're all in a time curl or something,
or Twilight Zone or something.
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah. Did you see let's look at that other one. I think you have your eye.
The other one was
this one.
Where did it go? The one about Higashi Nakano, that was interesting too. That was David Cole.
Where was that? Okay, here it is. Yeah, there are a couple of good ones coming up. Yeah.
So the cops see you looking at the cops doing something, and then they come over and like, "Why are you looking at us?" So you're looking at something. So
yeah.
But
you're talking to me.
I mean, I speak Japanese pretty well. I don't know if, I assume that cops are more comfortable talking to people who speak Japanese well, because then they could just speak their own language. But, I don't know. I tell them what they want to know. I don't think I'm doing anything wrong in the first place. So I rarely need to talk to cops outside of like me going to the police station for like a license renewal or something like that. And I generally don't have any problems. So,
But I'm not, of course, I'm not taking the policeman's side against David here, though. But you saw he observed the two policemen questioning a foreigner, and then this other foreigner comes up and starts watching, and the policeman says, "Hey, well, who are you? What do you want?" Almost understandable, right?
I mean, I guess they could imagine that they're somehow connected.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's what they were.
If David Cole
So,
looks like
yeah,
country western David Allen Cole, I can totally
he
understand.
was on last week. Speaking of country western singers, I saw your line profile picture, Ed.
Uh-oh.
Are you a country western singer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Are you a writer also, or do you just cover other people's
songs? Mostly cover. I got a couple of.
Who's your favorite?
Well, the ones that I cover the most are George Strait, Alan Jackson. You know, the real popular ones.
Okay.
Those guys are really popular in the what do you call it? The
karaoke bars.
The Japanese, excuse me, I'm doing something while we're talking.
It's like the Carpenters of country music.
The Japanese country music society loves those guys, right? Let me see if I can do this right. Hold on a minute. Let's see if I can do that. There he is. There's David Allen Cole. Can you see that? Oh, you guys are gone. Let me put you up there.
Oh, I can see it.
There you go. Yeah. Oh, we lost. Yeah.
Did you?
We lost. That was my fault. Okay, I'm going to go back to the regular. You know, I tried to do something cute and it didn't work.
Okay, we're back.
There you are.
Now we can't hear him. We lost your audio.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear both of you.
I can't hear him.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes, I can.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Hear Ed.
Is that the same
software's free.
Steve Martin says country and western. That's a line from the Blues Brothers.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Be careful. You got to have the chicken wire.
Yeah.
Whether they love the song or hate it, you got to have the chicken wire. Yeah. I will rejoin and maybe it'll fix that problem.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I was trying to
Somebody is Steve's also mentioning about the Sagamihara incident. I don't know what the Sagamihara incident is.
Asahara Shoku, Sagamihara incident 20. Okay. Akihabara, Shinrikyo.
Yes. So if there's anybody out there who hasn't seen the Blues Brothers for any reason, you should see it as soon as possible. It's a classic.
Yeah. And it took place in Chicago, my old hometown.
Yeah.
Right.
We're on a mission from God.
Where's our guy? Okay. Wow. Sagamihara stabbings on July 26, 2016 in Midori Ward, Sagamihara, Kanagawa, Japan. 19 people killed and 26 others injured, 13 civilian. Oh, this is that one, right? In the home care home for the disabled people. Remember that?
There was a man who went in and killed whatever you call it, the people who were at the home. Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Oh, where is John? John is here.
In spirit.
See if I can get him. Well, for some reason, John is in the backstage, but and as are you, and as am I. But for some reason, I cannot get moved to stage. Let's see. Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm still a little bit new on this.
This software stuff. It's cute, but I imagine it's free. I guess the StreamYard.
Yeah.
I'm not going to disparage it, but it's a little buggy.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Well,
when you share a screen and then I lose your audio.
okay. Let's not discuss software here.
Okay.
Okay. All right. And Western Duds. Okay. Funny in Osaka. I've been there. Okay.
I do a couple
All
of
right.
Johnny Cash songs now and again.
Pardon me, Johnny. Yeah, I saw your
A little
videos
bit of Johnny
too.
Cash.
I saw your videos too. I saw you doing the Doors.
Okay. You've been doing research. I should delete some of those bad ones. I learned to sing when I was 52. I started learning to sing when I was 52.
Oh. What is this?
I was gonna say Hans Demas, 6510. He says there was an Om Shinrikyo store in Akihabara. That's so presumably that's pre-1995, but that's, which I guess it makes sense, but that's kind of wild.
There was, as a matter of fact, there was an Om Shinrikyo store in Akihabara, right? Right. Actually, when I first came to Tokyo, I was living in my first place was in Chitose Karasuyama on the Keio line, and I had my landlord had this apartment building where I was living, and across the street he had another big rambling apartment building it was really a weird place, and the guy was a real weirdo too. And that's where Om Shinrikyo ended up having their headquarters, was in his apartment building. And I remember him on TV talking, like I said, he was a real weirdo. So he turned out exactly the way I thought he would.
Well, the thing, maybe most people don't know, this Shoko Asahara, the head of this Aum Shinrikyo Buddhist cult, he's basically the Charles Manson of Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, if there was ever a parallel to Charles Manson, he was for Japan.
I heard they used to bottle and sell his bathwater. Okay, well, you got anything else looking interesting there, Carl?
I was thinking about the next topic on our list, the election
coming up,
and the consumption tax. I think those are both quite interesting.
Yeah.
In my mailbox yesterday, this is election time. Somebody put this in my mailbox yesterday. I was like, "Oh my God, who died?" And then I used the translate, and I realized what it meant. They're basically comparing Takaichi's governance to a giant funeral, and it's going to end the country.
Who's that? Asahi, no doubt.
That looks, so it says Nichiren Daiseijin. So my guess is this is the Komeito.
Yeah, they're. So wait.
What newspaper? It's not a newspaper. This is like some sort of flyer.
It's a rag. It's a political rag. It's just, but it was in my mailbox. It was hand.
I mean, obviously they were handing it out for free.
Box,
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Door. There's some haters out there.
But I think the political parties have really detested each other like forever in Japan. So.
Well, let's look what's going on. I mean, let's not look at what's going on in America. Let's not.
Okay, this is not an American live stream. All right.
Why are we here? Yeah.
There are thousands of places you could go and complain about America, and this ain't one of them. Okay.
Well, and I used to complain about America all the time. Then I came here and I realized, oh my God, it's not that bad. I mean, politics is politics. It's messy. It's opinions and public viewpoints and not a lot of science and. Yeah. So, okay.
Well, hold on to your hat there, John. I'm going to share another screen here, and you may disappear. And if you do, I'll try to put you back. But I'm going to do what I did before when I showed David Allen Cole. So, which is this, and there you go. Let me see if I can get you back just a minute. There you are. Okay, I
that
did it.
worked?
Yeah, right. All right. I thought I was able to do that. Okay.
We've got
Um,
we've got a
Go
handful
ahead.
of election/politics comments in the stream.
Yeah, it's politics. Everybody's got an opinion.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
you want to go?
what's
You want to
what's
take
the
it?
source? No. What's the source that you're looking at here? Nippon TV.
Nippon
Yeah, I
TV
see them
News
on
24.
YouTube sometimes.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Yeah, and in fact, it does have a video to go along with it. We won't bother watching it and my wife went to vote yesterday, and she gave up because there were over 100 people there waiting to vote.
Oh wow! Well, that's turnout. That's a good sign.
Yeah. But it was snow flurries and really cold today, so it might have been people hurrying up to go before the weather turned bad too. I don't know.
That's true. We got a cold snap coming in.
Yeah. But I saw another guy, some gaijin who's living here. He was saying that, Takaichi's popular among young people, and young people are are selling their future down the selling their future.
Didn't
for the
Socrates say the same thing about young people? Yeah,
I don't know. So for the sake of current
Trends.
gain or something like that.
Okay.
So I'm sorry. Are you saying, like, for example, so I'm pretty sure LDP and actually the opposition party, like basically everybody wants to get rid of the consumption tax. I believe it's the consumption tax on food only,
which makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen.
Go ahead.
So taking tax off of food. So, like, I'm from Michigan, and Michigan doesn't have tax on food. So in a way,
just Washington
that
State.
makes sense. And so, people with lower incomes spend a greater portion of their income on food, so it helps them out proportionally more than should you give people a tax break on eating out at fancy restaurants? I guess if you had to choose one or the other, then just give them the discount on give them the discount on the food that they prepare at home for
trying to raise a family. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So,
anyway. And I don't know if you guys caught this other news that there was one LDP candidate in some kind of an online gathering, and he was shooting off his mouth, and he said, yeah, well, once we get into power, we're going to raise the consumption tax to 12%.
God. Well, anybody
he was called on it, and he said, no. Yeah.
That sounds strange. I don't know for sure, but I have the impression that. So I think it's only a debate as to whether it's temporary or permanent. I think
2 years.
The LDPs, the LDP is saying 2 years, and then other parties are saying, well, why not just make it permanent?
Evidently, that's all they can afford because they say it's going to be so expensive. It's basically a huge expenditure to cut that tax.
Yeah, trillions of yen, right?
But now it's not a zero-sum game because first of all, foreign foods have like 100% tax. I mean, it's 50% at our end.
Well, it's not consumption tax; it's import tax duties, right?
That's true, but the government gets that money. We don't. Okay. And then made in Japan,
the government gets all the tax, right?
Yeah. Made in Japan items, if their tax is reduced, that means their volume increases. Those companies pay, and their employees pay tax. So there is some recoup of, and also operating expenses would fall if food prices are lower. So there's some benefit on that end. It's not a total loss.
But do you guys know about that snaky consumption tax rule? Companies or businesses making under 10 million yen.
What, they don't have
a company or a business that makes under 10 million yen is not obligated to pay consumption tax to the government.
But they charge the customers still.
They collect it and keep it.
That seemed like a weird rule, but then they changed.
We're being had.
No, but they changed the rule. Is that Ed? Do you know there's something Seido?
Yeah, it's the invoice, right?
invoice seido, something like
Yeah.
maybe that's the one. And so
Yeah.
that basically creates strong incentive for companies even with less than 10 million yen in sales to
That's when you have company
register.
to company transactions.
So this is
But
basically
when you have company to consumer transactions, they can still get away with it relatively easily, according to what
Okay.
according to what I lightly read through. You know, I mean,
so this
I'm not
is
an
a
expert.
direct subsidy from the taxpayer to the
Yep.
institution.
Yep.
Into small businesses, is basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well,
And
Ed, you
company
and I
looks-
both
Mhm.
remember a time when there was zero sales tax
Yep.
in this country, right? Yeah.
Yep.
When I was in Okinawa, there was no sales tax.
You know, okay, about consumption tax. Generally, a consumption tax is accompanied by a cut in income tax or something like that. You know, this I'm not saying in Japan, but according to the theory, right, of consumption tax, it's supposed to be, you know, raise the consumption tax but lower income tax, right? And that's supposed to stimulate the economy or something like that. But you know, I heard a guy the other day talking about taxes, and he was saying, yeah, when we're sitting at home and we start running out of money, we don't go to our neighbor and say, hey, I'm going to have to start collecting more money from you. We have to, we start economizing.
Well, evidently, after the bubble collapsed, they were just out of money.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
And they needed to raise revenues because these companies weren't raking it in like the days of Sony and Panasonic and Nissan and all that. Yep. So they needed revenue. And they, during what we called the Fukeiki, or the post-bubble era, they threw a wet blanket on the campers, right? Mm-hmm. Some consumption tax was basically a wet blanket on the economy because they needed the money. It wasn't a very educated maneuver for the government, but.
Well, it sure didn't seem to stop the red ink from flowing, did it?
Oh, God. Yeah. Well, that's how they make their money, you know.
Steve Martin says Takaichi looks like Alfalfa from Our Gang comedies. You guys know Alfalfa, or are you too young for that?
Oh, I remember Our Gang.
They had reruns of that they still have reruns of that.
Good. Good. Yeah.
But
all she needs is a little hair sticking up from the top. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
He was a kid.
So going back to the tax thing, I mean, Japan has the highest amount of debt per capita. It's like a year or two worth of GDP or something.
Yeah.
So lowering taxes, it's like top in the world. Yeah. And so collecting less taxes, that's kicking the can down the road, and future generations are going to have to pay. But then the population is declining, so they're going to have to pay more per capita. I think there's a lot of people in the, not to go off and on, like on and on about the States, but I think, just speaking from an American perspective, I think there's a lot of people who are like, we should be fiscally responsible, and we shouldn't be getting larger and larger and larger deficits all the time. But I don't know if it's like universally true, but the United States is getting a growing deficit.
Blanket 10% was a very uneducated move. They could have been more strategic about it. For example, like in Michigan, Washington State, we don't tax food, but they tax toilet paper. So I mean, they're going to make it up.
I would say I would agree here. No tax on non-prepared food, healthcare, and no tax on rent. Why? How
they tax
food, clothing,
everything.
And shelter.
Even services are taxed. Not physical, non-physical items.
Back when I was a young guy studying economics, they used to say that if you impose a tax burden greater than 20% on your citizens, they will revolt. I wonder whatever happened to that.
Well, that was the Roman Empire, wasn't it? Isn't that what
maybe so. Maybe so.
That's
not when I was studying it, though.
Well, the George Harrison song from the Beatles, "Taxman." They'll tax the pennies on your eye. So like when you die, they put pennies on your eye, and it's like, well, no, you have to pay tax on that too. So I'm pretty sure that when the Beatles were active, they were paying way more than 20% tax because they were probably among the highest earning people in Britain.
So, well, now this is my question. Takaichi's a revolutionary. She's kind of bucking the trend. She's not one of the old guard, and evidently she needs a majority to get her policies through. So let's say the people stand behind her and she does get this LDP majority. Will that mean that the LDP will improve? Will the governance improve in this country? Does she have true leadership? I mean, will things get better? I guess we'll find out.
So my understanding is right now, because they don't have a simple majority. So the lower house is the more powerful of the two, right? And that's where Takaichi is. And if they have a simple majority, they don't have to form a coalition with any other parties. So basically, they could set their own agenda. But before, they were getting help from Komeito. And then Kometo's like, no, you guys are dirty politicians, so we're not going to join your coalition anymore. And then they had to switch to, Ishin? I don't
That's
remember.
That's right. Osaka's party, the Ishin, yeah.
Yeah.
Sanseito?
Oh, the Sanseito. Somebody made a
Sanseito.
comment about the Sanseito in the chat.
Yeah. Somebody was thinking that Sanseito they had some persuasive arguments, but
now they had a rally here last year in Osaka, and I was walking through the station, and here they are with the lady and their microphone, and they were passing out flyers, but I walked up and he wouldn't give me one, and I'm like, oh, because they're not giving these to the foreigners.
Well, you can't.
I
wouldn't give you a flyer either. I just joke.
Well, I took one, and he got a dirty look on his face.
Really?
On the front of the flyer, it was all about eliminating the sales tax. I'm like, well, that's great. And then I turned it over, and it's like, foreigner bad, foreigner bad, foreigner bad. Okay. They want to blame foreigners for all they're basically isolationists. So
yeah.
I mean, it's a kind of global trend, right? I think MAGA is that way, and I think there's more isolationists or nationalists in Europe. So yeah,
and we weren't going to talk about Mr. T. So we're not.
No,
I pitied the fool.
Right.
Unfortunately, everybody comes from somewhere.
That's true.
I had a Japanese lady. I had a Japanese lady one time tell me to go back to from where I came, and I told her to go back to Mongolia.
Was she from Mongolia? Oh, well,
no,
originally
she was Japanese, right?
But they have what's that called? The blue mark over their butt?
Yeah, it's called the Mongolian blue mark. Yeah.
There was a woman in America. She had her family. Maybe, I guess it was her husband's job, and she brought her child in for a flu shot or something, and it had the blue spot. The doctor had never seen the blue spot. And
I've heard a story like this too.
She got arrested for child abuse.
Yes,
I could see that happening.
I would imagine that they were able to explain and they got the charges cleared.
Eventually.
But I've heard the same story, and it's kind of annoying.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is working out. Just so everybody knows, for the first time, we're trying to do this. Run a tight ship here, and we got together.
One of these days, Ed, you're going to get super chats, and then you only read the ones that donate to you. But that's sometime in the future. So,
do you know? Okay, I'm going to say it. I haven't said anything until now. But first of all, I will proudly say that yesterday I became a YouTube partner. Ta-da!
Congratulations, Ed.
What does that mean?
Which means that I will be able to be paid off of the advertisements that appear on my site and in my videos. Some time ago, maybe December, I became a tier one monetization. And tier one monetization on YouTube means you are able to collect super chats and tips from your people, from your viewers.
Mhm.
And what you make whatever anybody gives you. And I've had that since, like I said, December or November, but I never mentioned it. And my income off of that is exactly zero. And my income off of
Oh, I was going to say, like,
Let it
anybody in the
grow,
chat
Ed.
now,
It'll
they
grow.
have the opportunity to be the very first, right?
Sure. And we will read your I knew a guy.
Keep those cards and letters
guy
coming, folks.
I knew a guy with millions of, thousands of people coming to his chat, and he used to do that. Only people who sent him money, he only read their chats, which was pretty hilarious.
The big time players, that's how they do it. And of course, they have a moderator, offline.
Yeah,
moderator.
Sure.
Someday,
sure.
We can dream.
We can
dream. Let's dream big. Yeah.
Okay, we got. Shall we look at the political comments? What do you think there?
Yeah. Let's take a stab.
People
So, if I go back up to Hans Demo's 6510, in principle, consumption tax is a regressive tax.
Yeah. Okay.
So it disproportionately collects from middle class and poor. That might be easier. So if they're talking about getting rid of the consumption tax, at least temporarily, and they're specifically doing it on food, I think that's in a way, that's the biggest benefit for middle class and poor, proportionally. So, so I think Hans was saying, like, well, it's kind of out of character for LDP, but that's what they're saying that they're doing, and maybe later they're going to do the 12% that John mentioned earlier. So.
But there was a time, as John said, that there was no consumption tax.
Zero.
And now they're saying if they cut it from food and drink, they'll be losing $1 trillion a year. What did they do before? Where were they making that money before? I wonder. I don't know. It all sounds fishy to me. Yeah.
Japan used to be a producer economy, producing actual hard items, and Japan moved into a paper economy. For example, Sony. Where does Sony make most of their money? It's not televisions, it's insurance.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the phenomenon, and that's what's been going on in a lot of other mature economies.
Yeah.
So
actually, that one of the hot YouTuber influencer cameras these days is a Sony. Did you know that?
They do have a portion of things, but I think they make their most of their money off of speculation and like well, that's Carl's specialty, the insurance market. Sony Sompo.
I'm not that. I mean, I know about insurance. I don't know about the insurance industry so well these days. So Steve Martin mentioned about the Engel coefficient, which that's one that I heard when I came to Japan, and lots of Japanese people like talking about it. And he's mentioning that he saw it on NHK, which is, in a way, for me, classic Japanese talking point. And so, it's kind of like, as he wrote, the higher the coefficient, like the greater you spend on food and maybe shelter. Maybe Steve can clarify, but so what he's saying, I think what the NHK comment is saying that's on the screen now is that people are spending more on food as a proportion of their income than ever since 1981. In a way, it's like saying people have become poorer.
Yeah,
it's not exactly what it's saying, but that's
or they're eating more.
or just food is expensive.
Here's a counter to this kind of depression topic. Last year, the number of workers, of employees, I guess you'd call them, the workforce count reached 70 million employees or workers. I guess you'd call them workers, right? The record in the history of Japan, 70 million workers. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the largest number of working hours, because there are more part-time workers than ever. Also, but
I have
wouldn't
the
that mean
feeling
that the number of taxpayers is higher than before? Because everybody pays income tax too. Right?
That's not exactly true. So you've heard of it used to be called, or I guess still called the 103万円の壁. So there's so like up into a certain amount of income, like about 1,000,000 yen, give or take. You can still, I think the important thing is you can still be classified as a dependent for tax purposes in your spouse's.
So there's a lot of write-off then.
Yeah, well, so and if I'm wrong, somebody please correct me. So basically, housewives would get a part-time job, but if they earned more than like 1.03 million, then they would have to get their own health insurance, which would be quite expensive, and then they couldn't be claimed as a dependent on their husband. So basically, there was all this, what's that called, latent job, so work potential, and so people would say like, I'm gonna have less money in my pocket if I work more, so why work more?
Oh, I see.
There's even a word for that. It's like hataraki bikae or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And they even talk about it in Parliament. So they've changed it. I don't know if it's already gone into effect or if they've just agreed to change it. But now that limit is like 1.6 million or something like that.
Well, the hope is that this Takaichi lady has got a good head on her shoulders. And from what I understand, there's this woman, Katayama, Ms. Katayama. She was at Davos last
The finance minister, maybe?
Yeah, I was impressed. She's a smart lady. I think these aren't the old guard. They actually have some good ideas, and if they're smart about it, they can improve things, because if they care and they've got competence. I want to know from Ed though. I think Ed, you've probably paid more Japanese income tax than any of us. What is your opinion as far as Japan versus other countries when it comes to income tax?
Well, I don't know about other countries that well. I came here as a really young guy, and I was in the army, so the tax was.
But you still have family members back in America, right?
Yeah, but I don't know.
He doesn't do their taxes.
No. And when I was in my productive years, I had a kabushiki gaisha. A company limited, and that the reason I had it wasn't because I needed it to do business. I had a customer who would only deal with subcontract to corporations. It wouldn't subcontract to individuals. So I set up the corporation. It was a corporation that consisted of me making the money and my wife doing the bookkeeping.
You got your first tip.
Oh, you're kidding. Hey, whoa, you're a history maker. Wow.
Omedeto, RB952.
Oh, and it's a dollar.
Thank you, man. That is so nice. You don't know what that means. I mean, really, I'm not joking.
157 yen is what it means.
But excuse me, I think you misplaced the decimal point there, didn't you?
Hold on. Don't get picky, Ed. Let's start small. That's your first dollar. You have to stick it on your wall.
Yeah. In fact, as a matter of fact, I will. Hey, thanks a lot, man.
So
and
while you
and I'm not saying this because he just sent me a super chat. I really like I don't know what to call them, RB9522's comments, both here and in the regular comments. A very good participant in our Gaijin 50 plus thing here. Thanks a lot, man. Thank you. All right.
So you were talking about forming your own company so that you could become a contractor.
Yeah, and so the corporation at that time, and it was bubble days and stuff like that. The Japanese government, at least that time, I don't know now, but at that time treated small companies really well. They allowed wide latitude as far as deductions and it was really good. So I don't, personal income. I had an accountant to do the company taxes, and I would always ask him to do my personal taxes too, and he would take care of it. So I don't really, and now that I don't have a corporation anymore, my wife does all my Japanese taxes, so I don't pay that much attention.
So
I'm a lazy guy.
This is a very sexist thing to say,
but
I'm gonna say it anyway.
Go
I'm
ahead.
so glad that this Ms. Katayama is running the financial side of the business.
Good,
because
okay.
these smoky old men
Yep.
running the books is not what we want, right? Those it's what do they call it? When the cronies.
Yeah.
The cronies are running the show. They run the ship aground, but these women, they know how to use Excel.
Yeah.
I think they'll do a better job.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so.
Going
It
back
wasn't
about
Katayama. Go ahead.
I was going to say about American taxes versus Japanese taxes. Two comments. One is like the American tax code changes I guess the Japanese probably does too, changes every year. And if it's not super simple, like, you're a college kid with like one job or something like that, it's like, it's quite a burden to go through the whole process of filling out your income tax. Whereas in Japan, like, for people who work at big companies, like if they don't want to, they don't have to file. It's already done for you by your company. Yeah. I think in general, it's to your benefit to do it because the company doesn't know all of your possible deductions. But I feel that the Japanese system is much simpler than the US system.
Maybe it's just simplistic, and so it's hurting the economy.
Oh, you're kidding.
Look at Steve Martin.
Wait a minute. What is that? Wow, Steve
is this
Martin.
The real Steve Martin?
Thank you.
Steve Martin from Utsunomiya.
Hey.
Civic Coffee. You have to buy Civic Coffee.
Yeah, we gotta have a party here one of these days, right? If this continues. Steve Martin, thanks a lot.
I can't
really appreciate it. Both of you guys, right?
You know what Civic Coffee is, right?
Yeah, the eat it and poop it and drink it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's
not
no.
Right.
Yeah. I can't see Steve Martin's thing on the screen. I don't know.
Because I have YouTube open, so I can see the chats that come in on YouTube.
But
Let me see if I can.
Ed does that. Ed has to push the right button for that one, I think.
Yes, Ed has to do that. Ed is in control.
There's a no, that's not it. There's a way that I can put the comments up on the screen.
You did that for the last
time. You did that for
I did that for the last time, and everybody said, don't do that. So I stopped, and I don't remember how I did it. But anyway, okay, you guys go ahead. I'll see if I can figure it out as we're,
The other comment I was going to say is in the States, I think, like if you own a house, of course you have property tax, school tax, and stuff like that. But basically it's your income tax. But in Japan, you have the additional juminze, so like residence tax, which I think in the States, we don't really have something that neatly fits into that category. So if you just think, in Japan, 25%, that's less than I would pay in the States. But actually, the juminze, if you add that in, then I don't know if it works out to be more or less, but it's something that it's easy to forget about. Not to forget about paying it, but just like when you're comparing the two. So you really have to add the juminze plus the shotokuze in order to get sort of like the equivalent of the American income tax.
I don't know which is higher or which is worse. But I know that I sold some stock in the United States, and the Japanese government took a chunk. And then at the end of the year, when I went to pay my health insurance, which is based on your income, they took a chunk.
Oh gosh.
And I was really surprised at percentage-wise how little I ended up with.
I'm sorry.
You
So
know.
you said that based on your sale of your stock in the States, they
Yes.
considered your income higher, so your insurance rate went, like your
Yes.
insurance premiums went up.
Ouch.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Death
How
and
many
taxes.
about the civet coffee, right?
Or deadly taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
I'm sure, Carl, you were just as surprised as I was when you came to Japan. How the turnover rate for prime ministers, because we were, as Americans, we're used to this 4 year, sometimes 8 year for the presidents, but in Japan it was almost like changing socks. I can't remember all the names of all these people.
there.
Um,
There was one time I went back. It's like in 2008. I went back to the States for like a month or something, and like I don't know. It seemed like there was like one or two new prime ministers by the time
yeah,
I came
while you
back
were
to
gone.
Japan. So
Oh,
like,
by the way,
oh wow, yeah,
while you were out of the country.
yeah.
Um, Ed, in your time here, did you have any favorites? Any memorable? Anybody that you respected or hated? I mean, as far as prime ministers go.
As far as prime ministers, well, to tell the truth, here's one for you for a point of reference. When I got here, the Japanese prime minister was Eisaku Sato, and you don't know him. No, he was the guy who kicked off the Narita Airport idea,
Mhm.
right?
Okay.
And he was a World War II guy, Eisaku
Okay.
Sato. You might want to look him up. And my favorite prime minister, I don't really, nobody. I liked Koizumi when he first came in. He seemed like very energetic and a very go out and do something kind of guy, kind of like Takaichi.
Okay.
But he privatized a lot of things. He privatized
Like the post office.
the tobacco, and I think I don't know if the JR was before or after him.
I think I was before him.
Yeah, some people blame him for some of the woes because he privatized too much. But it's all a matter of opinion. But
I see.
Yeah.
Well, as far as the yen is concerned, with the value of the yen, while Abe was prime minister for a long time, and even when he retired, he was still the party leader. And during his reign, I guess we call it that, the yen was pretty high value. It was around 100. Okay.
Yeah.
And but the biggest complaint, and I ask a lot of Japanese people, was that he was too right wing. He was too traditional, right? He wasn't progressive. But in retrospect, the economy was okay. I mean, it wasn't bubble, but it wasn't collapsing, right? And then when he was shot and killed, the yen fell apart.
Yeah.
About 6 months later, the yen actually recovered, but the new prime minister, Kishida, there was an assassination attempt on his life when he was visiting a fish market in Wakayama with a pipe bomb. I don't know if you remember that. And that's when the yen fell apart and world confidence evaporated. So evidently Abe had some policies that actually worked.
I think the current slide, like in the beginning of the pandemic, then the yen actually got stronger. Wasn't it close to like 100? And then as the pandemic went on, then obviously we got to where we are now. So
yeah. Well, like you said, you joked one time, Carl. 100 yen to a dollar was nice, in that it was easy to calculate.
Easy to calculate. So
and easier to spend. I mean, you got more for your money.
Yeah.
So
it all depends upon which is better depends upon where your income is. People getting income from the United States are happy. people having to send money out of Japan are not so happy.
The tourists are loving themselves here. They're loving
Sure.
Japan, the tourists. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and
Sure.
and for most of the time, like most of the time, like in the 90s and 2000s, nobody came to Japan. One, partly because like anime hadn't become so
Unless you had a
widely
job
loved,
here.
and
If
then
you had a job here, it was great. Yeah.
sure, but so there weren't so many Japanese culture loving people yet, but it was also expensive, and so like
that was the
if you
main
could
barrier.
go to another place and it's much cheaper, why not go there? I mean, even the like first couple of years I was in Japan, it was cheaper to fly overseas to go on vacation than it would be to like
Make
travel
it here,
somewhere else in
spend it
Japan.
there.
So yeah, that's exactly what I thought. And now it doesn't really work anymore.
It's on its head now, completely.
Well, very, very long ago, Japanese people didn't go overseas very much at all because it was really expensive. Yeah. Back when Miyazaki and Kyushu was called Japanese Waikiki Beach, because that's where Japanese couples would go for their honeymoons instead, because they couldn't get to Hawaii. Look at this. A government car leaving Takaichi's residence was traveling at 130 kilometers when it caused a fatal pileup.
She wasn't in
Tokyo
the car.
Dan just sent that. I don't know.
Is that today or something? There was some sort of news about something outside of the residence maybe a couple days ago.
There we go. One dead.
Yeah. That says January 30th.
So it's a week
that
ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Did it happen again, Dan? Maybe not. I don't know.
Well, I had heard something, and so it sounds like it's a week ago, but
yeah.
Well, she's not dead yet, so
yeah.
that would be a disaster.
Yeah, if she gets killed in an accident, that would be a bummer to have another election.
Accident.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, the tinfoil
in
in the kitchen, but I mean, should I ask? Who believes that the Yamagami thing was just the lone gunman, or was it a conspiracy?
Well, that's always the question, right?
Yeah.
I was shocked when it happened. So, hey, were we going to talk about smoking?
Yeah, I was just looking at the clock just now.
We're talking about the smoking gun, but okay.
Let's see what else we got here. But it is Japanese deep yeah,
state.
The Japanese police are really, it was a week ago. It seemed to have dropped out of the news. Japanese police are really snaky about releasing information. Even for high-profile cases. In fact, I was thinking about doing a video about high-profile cases that have disappeared. Do you remember about a year and a half, year and a couple of months ago, the Bishop murders? That Gaijin, who was living outside of Tokyo, and his neighbor
in Japan.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bishop is the name of the family. It's not somebody related to the church.
No, it's a name. Yes, it's a family name.
I vaguely remember it.
Yeah, their neighbor was a little bit, and he killed Bishop and his wife and his daughter, who was home from college, and it was right around Christmas, and it was really big news. And there's never been an announcement about the resolution. And one of my favorite cases, I'm sorry but since it came up, one of my favorite cases is the Runa Tamura case. Tamura Runa case. Are you familiar with that one?
Is she the one that was tortured by the gangsters until she died?
No. Runa Tamura. This is really cool.
Go ahead.
Really quick. Runa Tamura was this young woman, and she ended up, dropping out of high school and stuff like that. Really spoiled. Father was a doctor. Pardon me? Princess, yes.
Yeah.
And she hated men. And she used to go to these clubs, and these clubs had a lot of cross dressers and things like that. And she
Oh,
got
with the
hooked
head
up-
cut off, and the father was a psychologist.
Yeah. She,
Carl, you don't know
this-
about this one?
this guy,
And
this
did
guy
the
used to-
parents help her cover it up or something?
Yep. Yeah, this and you know the guy was he'd dress up like a woman, and then
This
they'd
was
miss the last
Sapporo, right?
train,
This
and they
was
say,
in
"Well,
Hokkaido.
let's share a hotel room together. We're both women, and they get in the hotel room, and he'd have his way, and he did that to Runa, and Runa got pissed, and then she lured him back in the hotel room, stabbed him, cut off his head, put his head in a bag, took the head back home. Father drove her home, helped her prepare for it, and they have a video that the mother took while Runa was playing with the guy's head in the family bathroom, and all this kind of stuff. The whole family got arrested. The father and mother got suspended sentences. Runa's case is still pending.
Wow.
Yeah.
Too freaky for the law.
What's going on?
That's gruesome, and
Isn't it?
seems like a miscarriage of justice.
Yeah, it
But
sure does.
Are they
doesn't it?
like ultra rich or something? Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
he's a doctor.
But that doesn't mean they're ultra rich. I mean,
Well, he's a top class administrative kind of.
we're
doctor.
talking ivory tower. Oh no.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
upset me now here in Kansai, there's this place called Ikeda, and
Uh-huh.
in the 90s, this crazy man went into an elementary school and stabbed the children, killed a teacher.
Yeah.
And I remember his psychologist or psychiatrist, I'm sorry, I don't know which, but his doctor, his mental health specialist, saying, "Not my fault." And
Yeah.
it's like, wait a minute, wouldn't it be his fault? Of course, 30 years ago in Japan, the claimer mentality, the lawyer up, mentality didn't really exist here. But if the same thing were to happen today, I think there would be more outrage.
Yeah.
But back then, Japan was still in its innocent phase.
Okay, sorry for getting us
a lot
off
of
track.
rules. Yes.
Let's go to Japan's smoking culture over the years.
Oh gosh,
Have you guys ever smoked?
when I'm on
No.
fire, I smoke.
Yeah. No, have you ever? No, have you ever? No. I used to.
I've never been a smoker.
I used to when I was a guy. You were very smart for not. Well,
Back in the 70s, when I was a little kid, and my mom would take me into the bank, or in the late 60s, there'd be ashtrays by the in the bank, and there'd be the sand in there, and I'd play in that. My mom would be like, "Don't touch that,
touch that.
right?" Because there were ashtrays everywhere in America in the 60s and 70s. Fast forward to the 90s, I come to Japan, and there's ashtrays everywhere, and I'm getting these flashbacks. Don't touch that, that's dirty, right? Because they're smoking everywhere. And then Starbucks came and saved us all. And so I'm still such a huge patron of Starbucks. People say, "Oh, that's so posh. Their coffee's not that good." I'm like, no. This was the first non-smoking establishment in Japan, and I still owe them a favor.
Okay,
Because
so
you couldn't get away from the tobacco. You just couldn't get away from it. There were smokers everywhere.
So I do think that around 2000, so I think Starbucks came to Japan right around 2000.
Yep.
And
It was first.
if you were a non-smoker and you wanted to go for coffee, then Starbucks was kind of the
Yep.
natural choice. And then if you were a smoker, then there's like Dotoru and those other ones where is like smokers welcome, or like Renoir.
A
Smokers
Kokuya.
welcome.
I don't know if they have a Kokuya in Tokyo.
Not here. I mean, I'm not familiar with it. But I do remember that, like if your friends wanted to go to Starbucks and you were a smoker, then like even in the winter, then there would be seats out in front of Starbucks where like you could put on your jacket and you'd be like shivering, and then you could be smoking in front of Starbucks but not inside.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that is also not a thing anymore at Starbucks.
There are designated smoking areas, and you can't walk down the street and smoke. It's against the law. So
now. So when I went back to the States, like my sort of reflex on non-smoking, and they're like, it's all non-smoking. So like that changed while I was here in Japan. How about you, Ed? What's your experience with smoking over the years?
When I first came here, sorry, I really hate doing that, but Carl keeps saying you should talk about it.
Yeah.
They used to allow smoking on the train. JR did on the commuter train.
I think it's just 88 or something.
The Shinkansen had ashtrays.
No, the commuter train.
Oh, wow.
Going to work in the morning had ashtrays, and all kinds of people were smoking. And it was normal, like in the station, the platform where you catch your train would be covered with cigarette butts.
Wow.
People would drop them. And the train tracks would be covered with cigarette butts because people would flick their cigarette butts. Yeah. And at that time, in 1970, I prepared for this. In 1970, over 80% of men in Japan smoked.
Wow.
Women, on the other hand, accounted for only 10 or 20%. So it was a men's thing, right?
Yeah.
Back when I first got here, a pack of 7-Star cigarette, the regular, pack of 20 cost 100 yen. Some brands cost only 80 yen. And there was a brand, I don't know if they still have it, called Short Hope. And those were only 10 to a pack, and those cost 50 yen a pack.
Wow.
Yeah. And if you didn't smoke, you a Japanese person say, hey, you don't want a cigarette? No, I don't smoke. They would inevitably say, huh? Why not? Like there's something wrong with you. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And
so when did you quit, Ed? When did you quit? How old were you?
I quit when I was, I quit in around 1988.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I quit drinking and smoking because, up to about that age, my body was, I felt indestructible. My metabolism was burning up everything I threw at it. But I saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I tightened it up. And at that time,
I teach a lot of doctors, and their life is very stressful. It's not like being a doctor in America. They they work 7 days a week, and they do night shifts, and it's a very stressful occupation in Japan to be a doctor. And a lot of them smoke and drink.
Yeah.
And one of my student in the class, right? He every 5 minutes he's coughing. I've got the picture of me and my students with a whiteboard that says, I'm trying to get my doctor to quit smoking on the whiteboard. Yeah. I got him to quit.
Yeah.
I got my doctor to quit smoking. I feel very proud of that accomplishment.
I can remember when I was a kid, they still had magazine ads. 9 out of 10 doctors agree Camel cigarettes are the best for your health.
Oh, God.
It's good for your digestion, they used to say, right? Yeah. And that in those days tobacco was sold by the Japanese monopoly, and they would have debates in the government, and they would say, well, we have to raise the tobacco tax, and we have to get people to quit smoking, and politicians would get up in parliament and say, get people to quit smoking. Look at how much money we're making from tobacco taxes.
Well, that's why they're taxing food now, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe we should go back.
Yeah.
Carl, did you ever smoke?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I basically never smoked. I've never been a smoker. But let's see, in the comments, there was somebody who was saying that in the early 90s, there was a couple of smoking seats at the back of airplanes. And I vaguely remember smoking in airplane, not me smoking, but that there was smoking in a couple of seats in airplanes. And then there was another one, Hans Demas says, so they
it's not dumbass. Dumas.
No, sorry. It sounds Dutch or something. But the way they made a non-smoking section in the restaurant in Japan is they just took away the ashtrays. And I can say that like Dotoru, which is a coffee shop that's kind of, in my mind anyway, kind of famous as like the smoker's coffee shop. And they had like the smoking section and the non-smoking section, but it's like the smoking section goes up to here and then the non-smoking section starts here, but there's like no divider or anything like that. They've changed that to kanzen bun, and so there has to be like glass barriers now. But yeah, I'm much happier with the current smoking environment than what it used to be.
Here's a bureaucratic story, only in Japan kind of story for you. There's very popular in the U.S. now is non-tobacco nicotine. And what it is, they have these pouches, and you take a pouch and you put it up in your lip,
yeah.
and it delivers nicotine to your system.
Yeah.
And the same kick as it, but it's not tobacco. So people are saying, well, it's safe. And I tried it because it's available in Japan now. But listen to this. So I heard about it. There's this one product called Velo, V-E-L-O.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering,
advertise it.
is it available in Japan? And I found out it's available at Family Mart. So I went to Family Mart and I says, hey, you got Velo? I wanted to try it, see if it'll help me stay awake when I'm at work and stuff like that. So they said, yeah, here you are. And it was like, I forgot what it was, 400 yen or something like that. Not very, and you get 10 pouches. So I tried it and it was pretty good. It pepped me up. And I was talking to my friend. He's hanging around here in the comments sometimes, Tokyo Dan. And we were together talking about it. And I told him about it. And I gave him the thing. And he says, this says it's tobacco. And I said, no. Velo is non-tobacco. And he says, well, look right here. And son of a gun, the package said tobacco. So I started checking around. Here you go. Velo is considered to be a non-tobacco nicotine delivery product. If you bring such a product into Japan, it's considered a pharmaceutical. And it's strictly regulated. In order to sell it in Japan in the convenience store, they had to add tobacco, because tobacco products are not as strictly regulated as pharmaceuticals.
Wow.
Yay!
Well,
So I stopped using it.
The video game Biohazard.
Yeah.
The name had to change to Resident Evil so they could get it overseas, because they couldn't ship these boxes that said Biohazard on them. So they changed the name to Resident Evil. And when I say Biohazard, they're like, wait a minute, you mean Resident Evil? Yeah, that game.
Yeah.
It's like the guy, I was going to say, like, the guy has a license plate. You can get vanity plates. And so the guy gets the one that says no plate. But then he gets all these tickets in the mail because, cars that actually don't have a license plate, the cop just writes no plate on it, and then they all get sent to the guy's house.
Oh, God.
So that's not a good vanity plate to take.
The biker gangs here, they're just kids, they're not dangerous like American biker gangs. They have this little trick where they fold their license plates like on a hinge, and they drive around with the license plate tipped up so it can't be read.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Right? And then if the policemen get, sorry, and they fold it back down, but then they go a couple miles and fold it back up again. When I was a rider, my favorite pastime was to ride up and with my foot fold it down for them and drive past them so that their plate could be read. But I was a bad guy.
By the way, Steve Martin talks about Golden Bat cigarettes. There used to be let's see if I can do this.
It sounds violent, actually.
There you go. Golden Bat cigarettes, right? And these are like your Lucky Strikes with no filters.
Oh my.
And he says, he tried it, but it has no filters, and he had never smoked cigarettes, right?
Wow.
And this is has any corporate executive tobacco type ever gotten into trouble in the United States? I wonder.
Well, there was that whole Philip Morris deal, and eventually the facts went out that smoking was dangerous, and they anybody that's tried to say otherwise looked stupid. So, but it took decades to get away from that.
Did you know that?
Sure.
Under England's new tobacco and vapes bill, it will be an offense to sell tobacco to anyone born on or after 1 January
Oh
2009.
my goodness.
I didn't know that. Oh,
They're really getting Gestapo there in England.
Yeah, we got somebody talking about license plates here.
So it sounds like David Cole straightened out the license plate of somebody who was doing like what you said, John, and then the person took offense, and the cops came and they sided with David. So, yeah, not something I would do. But
okay, I'm going to tell this. You might get demonetized, Ed. Sorry.
Don't do that. I just made my first 1,000 yen. Don't do that.
This guy threw his cigarette out the window, and I'm lane splitting, okay? And the cigarette lands right in front of me. I reached down and I threw it back in. And he used the rage on his face, and he looked up and he saw my blue eyes, and you know,
I've never done that, but I can relate to the feeling.
Yeah, I wanted to do that.
After when my daughter was born, I stopped riding. 25 years, I didn't die, so I consider myself lucky.
Well, both of you guys are smart that you never got onto cigarettes, because I'll tell you what, I smoked for like 20 years and then stopped, and about 20 years, almost 20 years after I quit smoking,
then you started again.
No.
That's what
I got a bad sickness.
Oh no.
Yep.
It's like a time bomb in your body.
And I said to the doctor, what's the cause of this? And he said, smoking. I said,
20 years later.
I quit, and he goes, doesn't matter.
Wow.
Well, yeah. I think some things that, like, if you quit, it reduces your chances. But I mean, obviously, the best is never have done it at all. But I think the general advice is it's never too late to quit.
Yes.
So, like, it's always better to quit now. Like, you can't change the past, but it's always better to quit now than keep smoking, because, you're screwed anyway.
The problem I had didn't recur, so.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the ultimate sickness, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would Carl, would you agree that the lifestyle here, maybe it's the food, of course, climbing stairs and taking trains is actually healthier than being a driver. But I was in the Marine Corps, and years later, after I'd been living in Japan almost 20 years, I reconnected with one of my old Marine buddies over Facebook. And of course, after he got out, he moved back to the States and lived in the United States. Of course, it's the home of junk food, right? Of course, here we are in Japan, we're eating like seaweed and all these things that they try to sell you on those midnight health, infomercials or whatever. That's part of the normal diet. This guy looked like Jabba the Hutt. He had no chin. We used to run 3 days a week, right? We were Marines. And this guy looked like, I can't get him anymore. I think he died.
Well, I mean, we're getting old, so some of our cohort have passed on.
But living in Japan, I think that adds to our lifespan. The food. There's no guns here. Right.
Yeah, yes. Well, I mean, I didn't even think about that. I was just thinking about the sort of the health angle. So two things, it's maybe three things. So one is sort of walking is kind of like, in a way, it's almost unavoidable. I mean, maybe especially some people drive. Yeah, especially if you live in the city. So like, maybe you don't get 10,000 steps, maybe you don't need to get 10,000 steps, but if you like walk 10 minutes from the station here,
you got to run up the escalator.
So I think people get more exercise here. I think, what do they say, like 40% of Americans are obese, but in Japan it's like 4%. And then another thing is, I don't know how much this well, I would imagine that it impacts health, but in Japan, if you have low income, and maybe just thinking of the Japanese people, there's a kind of safety net for insurance, and like in Japan, it's relatively easy to go to the doctor. You don't have to wait like months to see the doctor. They're not going to charge you $150 and say, "Oh, you got a cold." If you got a cold, they'll charge you 1,000 yen, or 1,500 yen, or if you're elderly, it's be like 500 yen or something. So more exercise, healthier diet, like you said. I mean, it's not all seaweed, but more fish and smaller portions, less obesity, and sort of like,
I think higher quality overall too.
But better healthcare for so maybe the best American healthcare is better than sort of the high-end Japanese, maybe, because like that's where all the pharmaceutical companies are, and they get these things first. But I think for the lower half of the population, in terms of the quality of healthcare, the Japanese standard is very high, and it's affordable. So
some of my students are pharmacists, and I asked them, what is the most common, like in America, the most common drug is probably, I don't know, like cold medicine or some headache reliever or something like that. In Japan, the most common medicine is the kampoyaku. The Chinese herbal medicine is actually the most popular, the most sold items are the kampoyaku, the herbal medicine ingredients. So
I'm curious, so I have sort of mixed feelings about kampo. I think it sometimes works, but I'm not like, oh, give me the kampo. That's, for me, I'm like, I don't like necessarily say no, but I don't have high expectations, I guess is what I should say.
Ed, what's your opinion?
I take what the doctor gives me.
Okay.
I don't think about it that much. Compo, if they give me compo, I take it, but I kind of share Carl's view that I don't have high expectations, but if the doctor says I should take it, I take his word for it. So yeah.
But my image of kampo is it kind of nudges your metabolism or your body in one way or another. And there's like 100+ different ones, and like the most common ones, that everybody says works, they probably work, but it's not going to be as, in general, I think they're not going to be quite as powerful as, sort of like the Western developed stuff. So the traditional
ideally, if you're eating better, you're not going to get sick. And I would say my evaluation of the Japanese food is that it's higher quality, more nutritious, less injurious than the junk that people eat in the States, especially.
Yeah, I'm a big believer of avoiding what am I thinking of? Oh, what am I thinking of? I forgot English. I want to say irritation. What do they call that when your body reacts?
Stress,
like a hoshi? You're talking about like a rash or allergy?
Internally, they say that a lot of processed food causes inflammation, right? Okay. Avoiding inflammatory kinds of foods. I'm a big fan of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, sure.
And Japanese diet is pretty good about that, right?
But by the way, so Steve Martin mentioned the book Straight Jacket Society. That's, if I'm not mistaken, that's by Takeo Doi. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't I tell you about this one the other day, Ed?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like from the 80s or something. I read it and it was quite interesting. That was like one of the first books I read, like when I knew I was coming to Japan. So
well, we covered a lot of ground today, and
that was great. We could go another hour, but
yeah.
We're still on a roll. It never got boring.
I'm gonna ask, first of all, I'm gonna ask John to give you. You want to wrap?
Oh no, we lost the host.
Oh, no. So say whatever you want. You can say bad things about him now.
I hope I don't get doxxed. If somebody with trigonometry skills could find out exactly where I live.
Okay, here.
Oh, there he is. He's back.
Oh,
That's weird. My earbud fell out, and it
It shocked
almost
the
cut
world.
yeah. So okay, John, you've got a few minutes here. You got the floor.
Oh, what?
Are you going to plug your business or something?
Wrap it up. All right.
Oh, this is
wrap
the
it up.
wrap-up.
Comment. Yeah.
Okay. Can we go back to our
Whatever you like. Whatever you like. The floor is
go
yours.
back to our lose the comment and go back to our names at the bottom. That we have names.
Whatever happened to that?
Yeah.
Damn.
If you turn off the comments, then there we go. Oh, Steve Martin's laughing.
Yeah.
There we are.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
I want to thank the both of you for inviting me and letting me step on your toes for an hour and a half. I appreciate it. I would, want to see this thing take off, really. I hope we get popular. I hope we serve a purpose in the YouTube scope of things. Thank you, gentlemen, very much. By the way, if you want to reach me, I think I'm down here. It's at Expat English. So please see my channel and say hello over there. Carl, how come you don't have a channel yet?
It's in the works.
In the works.
Someday. Okay, you'll get there.
Yeah.
Okay, Carl.
So just the last several comments, we sort of teased the topic of medicine. Maybe that's one for maybe the next time. I am passionate about sort of talking about the medical system. I think there's lots of expats have lots of opinions, and if people are coming from different countries, then they have different things to compare it to. So that would make quite an interesting conversation. So I'm sure there's something else brilliant I could mention, but yeah, it was great. I think we did a pretty good job. Some of the commenters were really, really quite active on different topics, and hopefully we got most of the comments incorporated into what we're talking about. But yeah, I'm enjoying this very much. So thanks for creating this channel, Ed.
Okay. And I say thanks to both of you. And I probably, as everyone can imagine, that it's not just during this 90 minutes that we meet here. These two fellas, we made a line chat group, and we get together during the week and bounce things off of each other. They make some great observations, and they recommend topics and things like that. And they're a very integral part making this live stream as interesting as it. I think this is one of the most interesting live streams we ever had because there's three of us. And I thank you for your input and your effort. And I also would like to say thank you to Mr. RB9522 for being our first super chatter. And a big thanks to Steve Martin. Really appreciate that. And I look forward to the day that we've got so much money that everybody can have a party, and maybe someday we can have
about the economy. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, maybe someday we could have a GAIJIN50 convention in Tokyo or something like that. Who knows? But
looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, guys, and I'll talk to you guys within the next day or two. And
okay, thank you, Ed. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you very much, and thank you to all the fine guests. And we'll see you all next time.
Okay. Oyasumi nasai.
Okay. Good night. I gotta click the right thing here. Okay, here we go. This should